The quantum machine inside your mind. What if the most powerful technology ever discovered was not hidden inside a secret laboratory, locked beneath government buildings or protected inside the vaults of billionaires? What if the greatest force ever uncovered was sitting quietly inside your own skull right now, operating every second of your life without you even realizing it? Not a machine made of metal and wires, not a computer built by engineers, but your mind. From the moment you woke up today, your brain has been interpreting reality, filtering information, shaping perception, and transforming invisible energy into the world you experience as solid and real. Every sight, every sound, every emotion, every memory, every fear, and every dream has passed through this hidden system. Yet no one ever truly taught you how it works. You learned mathematics, you memorized history. You were trained to follow instructions, obey systems, and repeat information on command. But almost nobody sat you down and explained the mechanism through which your consciousness creates your experience of reality itself. Nobody explained how the brain converts waves into images. Nobody explained how perception edits reality before you even become aware of it. And nobody explained how your subconscious mind silently shapes your life long before your conscious thoughts catch up. And perhaps the strangest part of all is this: modern physics has discovered truths so bizarre, so reality-bending, that they sound more like science fiction than science. Yet these discoveries have shaken the foundations of what humanity thought reality actually was. At the deepest level of existence, the universe behaves nothing like the world your senses report to you. The chair beneath you feels solid. The screen in front of you looks stable. Your body seems physical and permanent. But under a microscope powerful enough to examine the atomic level, solidity begins to disappear. Matter becomes mostly empty space. Atoms dissolve into clouds of probability. Particles stop behaving like tiny objects and begin acting like waves of possibility. And here is where things become truly strange. In quantum physics, particles often do not settle into a definite state until they are measured or observed. Before observation, they exist in multiple possible states simultaneously, what physicists call superposition. For decades, scientists have wrestled with the mystery of why observation appears to influence physical outcomes. This question became one of the most famous puzzles in modern science, the measurement problem. The deeper researchers looked into reality, the stranger reality became. Your brain protects you from this strangeness because your survival depends on stability. Imagine trying to function normally if you constantly experience the world as a swirling ocean of uncertain probabilities instead of solid objects. You could not focus, you could not make decisions, you could not navigate daily life. So your mind simplifies reality. It takes an incomprehensibly complex universe and compresses it into a manageable experience. It creates a stable story, a coherent movie, a simulation your nervous system can survive inside. And because the rendering feels so convincing, you mistake the rendering for reality itself. But what if your experience of life is not a direct recording of the world? What if it is an interpretation? Think about this carefully. Your brain receives enormous amounts of information every second, far more than your conscious awareness can process. Most of it never reaches your attention. Your mind filters reality constantly, deciding what matters and what gets ignored. That means two people can stand in the exact same environment and experience completely different worlds. One person sees danger, another sees opportunity. One person notices rejection, another notices connection. One mind finds hopelessness, another finds meaning. The external world may remain unchanged, but perception transforms the experience completely. And the filter shaping perception is not random. It is built from beliefs, your past experiences, emotional patterns, assumptions, fears, expectations, and subconscious conditioning become the lens through which reality is interpreted. Over time, these patterns become so automatic that you no longer notice them operating. You simply assume the world is exactly as you perceive it. But your mind is not merely recording reality like a camera. In many ways, it behaves more like a projector. The images projected outward are influenced by the emotional and psychological code running silently underneath conscious awareness. Every repeated thought strengthens a pathway. Every emotional habit reinforces a pattern. Every belief becomes part of the filter. Eventually, the subconscious mind begins predicting reality before you consciously experience it. This is why certain people repeatedly attract the same situations, relationships, fears, or struggles over and over again. The subconscious continuously searches for evidence confirming its internal programming. If someone deeply believes they are unworthy, the brain unconsciously filters for rejection. If someone believes life is dangerous, the nervous system constantly searches for threats. If someone expects failure, the mind notices obstacles while ignoring opportunities. The brain edits reality to maintain consistency with identity. And once you understand this, an uncomfortable realization appears. Most people are not experiencing reality directly, they are experiencing their conditioning. This does not mean thoughts magically control the universe like fantasy stories often claim. It does not mean wishing for something causes particles to rearrange themselves like a movie, but it does mean perception shapes experience far more deeply than most people realize. Your emotional state changes your focus. Your focus changes your decisions. Your decisions change your behavior. Your behavior changes your outcomes. And over time, those outcomes reinforce the beliefs you started with. The cycle becomes self-sustaining. Children often sense this instinctively. Before society fully conditions them, children experience reality with openness and imagination. The world feels alive, responsive, mysterious, and fluid. Possibility feels natural to them because their assumptions are not yet rigid, but adulthood gradually installs psychological walls. People are taught that reality is fixed, that identity is permanent, that perception is objective, that consciousness is powerless. Over time, the imagination shrinks. Curiosity fades, the unknown becomes threatening instead of magical. Yet beneath all the conditioning, something deeper remains alive. A quiet awareness that reality may be stranger, more connected, and more flexible than it appears on the surface. And this brings us to one of the most fascinating discoveries in quantum physics: entanglement. When particles become entangled, they remain connected in ways that seem to transcend distance itself. Change one particle and another responds instantly, even across enormous separations. Einstein famously disliked this phenomenon, calling it spooky action at a distance. Because entanglement suggests something profound. At the deepest level, separation may be an illusion. Everything in your body originated from ancient stars. Every atom has interacted with countless others across billions of years. The universe is not a collection of isolated pieces completely disconnected from one another. It is an interconnected field of relationships, and your brain creates the sensation of separation because individuality helps humans survive. Your nervous system draws boundaries and labels them me and not me. But beneath those boundaries exists a deeper unity that science is still struggling to fully understand. Perhaps this is why moments of awe feel so powerful. Moments watching the stars, standing beside the ocean, listening to music that moves your soul, feeling connected to another human being beyond words. In those moments, the illusion of separation briefly weakens. You remember something ancient, something your rational mind forgot, that you are not merely observing reality, You are participating in it, and once that realization enters your awareness, the world never feels entirely the same again. The hidden code beneath consciousness. Now let us go even deeper. Because there is another secret hidden beneath perception itself, something so close to your experience that most people never notice it. Time. Your brain presents time as a straight line moving from past to future. Every second appears to flow forward with absolute certainty. Yesterday feels fixed. Tomorrow feels unknown. The present feels immediate and real. But at the deepest levels of physics, time behaves far more strangely than human intuition expects. In many quantum equations, time works equally well moving forward or backward. The fundamental mathematics often shows no preferred direction at all, and certain experiments have produced results so unusual that they appear to blur the distinction between past and future. One of the most famous examples is the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment, which challenged scientists' understanding of causality itself. To most people, this sounds impossible. How could present actions appear connected to events already in the past? Yet quantum mechanics repeatedly forces scientists to confront realities that defy ordinary common sense. Your brain resists these ideas because stable timelines help you survive. Human beings rely on predictable sequences to learn, plan, and function. Cause and effect create order inside the nervous system, but psychologically, this creates another illusion: the belief that your past permanently defines your future. Think about how much suffering comes from this assumption. People replay painful memories endlessly. They define themselves by failures. They carry old emotional identities for decades. They build entire lives around stories that were formed years ago. The event may have ended long ago, but the emotional pattern continues living inside the nervous system. And here is the important part. The meaning assigned to the past is still being created in the present moment. Two people can experience similar hardships and emerge completely differently because consciousness shapes interpretation. One person becomes trapped by pain, another transforms through it. One becomes bitter, another becomes wiser. The events matter, but the interpretation matters too. Your subconscious mind constantly reconstructs your relationship with the past every single day through memory, emotion, attention, and meaning. This is not mystical thinking, it is neuroscience. Memories are not perfect recordings stored permanently like video files. Each time you revisit a memory, your brain partially rebuilds it. Emotional states influence how memories are experienced and reinforced. In other words, the story you tell yourself about your life literally reshapes your emotional reality. And this leads to another astonishing truth. Your conscious awareness is not fully in control. Research suggests your brain processes information and begins actions before conscious awareness catches up. By the time you become aware of a thought or decision, unconscious systems have often already started the process. Your conscious mind feels like the leader, but much of your behavior is driven by deeper, subconscious programming operating automatically in the background. The subconscious regulates breathing, heartbeat, emotional reactions, habits, instincts, pattern recognition. It processes enormous amounts of information silently, while your conscious awareness only sees the surface layer. And this explains why changing your life is often so difficult. People try to transform themselves through logic alone. They repeat affirmations, they force positive thoughts, they attempt surface-level motivation. But subconscious programming cannot always be changed through words alone. The nervous system responds more strongly to emotional experience than intellectual arguments. If someone consciously says, "I am confident," but subconsciously feels unsafe and inadequate, the deeper emotional program usually dominates behavior. The body believes emotion more than language. This is why emotional states matter so much. Repeated fear conditions the nervous system toward anxiety. Repeated shame conditions the identity toward unworthiness. Repeated stress trains the body to expect danger. Over time, emotional patterns become biological habits. But the reverse is also true. Repeated gratitude changes attention. Repeated calm reshapes the nervous system. Repeated confidence alters behavior. Repeated presence weakens fear. The subconscious learns through repetition and emotional intensity. That means transformation is less about forcing thoughts and more about changing states of being. Children naturally understand this. They immerse themselves completely in imagination, emotion, and play. Their minds learn through feeling, embodiment, and experience. Adults often lose this ability because they become trapped inside analysis and overthinking, but the deeper mind still responds to emotional frequency. Not frequency in the magical sense, often exaggerated online, but in the very real biological sense of nervous system states influencing perception, behavior, stress hormones, focus, and relationships. Your inner world changes how you interact with the outer world, and over time those interactions reshape your life. This does not mean you control the universe like a god. It does not mean every event is your fault. It does not mean quantum physics proves manifestation fantasies, but it does mean consciousness matters, attention matters, emotion matters, belief matters, perception matters, because human beings do not experience objective reality directly. They experience reality filtered through the nervous system. And once you understand that, a new possibility appears. If the mind can be conditioned unconsciously, it can also be retrained consciously. Not instantly, not magically, but gradually. Through awareness, through repetition, through emotional regulation, through reflection, through intentional focus. The moment you become aware of a subconscious pattern, you create distance between yourself and the program. You stop being completely controlled by it. A fearful thought arises, and instead of automatically obeying it, you observe it. An old identity appears, and instead of treating it as absolute truth, you question it. An emotional reaction surfaces, and instead of drowning inside it, you witness it. That awareness changes everything, because the observer inside you is more powerful than the pattern itself. And perhaps that is the deepest secret hidden beneath all these discussions about consciousness and quantum reality. Human beings are not merely passive creatures trapped inside a fixed universe. They are participants in experience. Your mind is constantly shaping how reality is interpreted. Your attention directs perception. Your emotions influence behavior. Your beliefs influence action. And your repeated states slowly become your life. The universe may still contain mysteries beyond human understanding, but one truth is already clear. The hidden world inside your mind influences the world you experience far more than you were ever taught to believe.